Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to take a look at a game by one of my top students. His name is Mark. His rating on chess.com is in the mid 1900s. This is a game he played a couple of days ago, and the time control was game 45 with a 45-second increment. Um, if you're trying to get better at regular chess, which will come back at some point, this is a very, very good time control. But it does require a lot of dedication, which Mark has, which is why he is getting better and better. Now, let's take a look. His opponent is rated in the high 1700s. The game begins with d4. Mark plays knight f6, one of the main moves. White plays knight c3, because if allowed, he would like to play e4. And Mark plays e6 because Mark loves the French defense. And he is hoping that he will get to play the French. Um, Now, another move here instead of e6 could be just d5 and argue that this knight does not make any sense. But Mark's move makes perfect sense here. And he gets his favorite French. And now White has several choices. Um, the only thing about this French compared to like normal Frenches is there is this knight here, and he doesn't make a lot of sense here in these positions. Because normally White pawn would like to be able to support this pawn. Because in the French, White has more space, and he would like to keep it that way. Okay, White pushed, which for the time being looks great. And now White played knight f3, which looks reasonable. The problem, however, is that his center is about to be attacked. So now the move which might make sense here could be something like f4 first to reinforce your center. Okay, knight f3, it's not terrible, but Mark will now be able to do terrible things to the pawns. And he plays the most logical move, pawn c5. White takes, but now what happens is this pawn is now weaker. Mark can pick this one up, but he does not do that yet. He brings out his knight, and he says, well, I can maybe take this one. I can maybe take this one. And for the time being, I'm just developing. White plays bishop g5, which sort of makes sense because this is White's bad bishop. Because if one of these pawns stays alive, this bishop will be partially blocked. Mark just blocks, bishop e7. His opponent takes, Mark takes back. And now again, there is pressure here and pressure here. His opponent plays knight b5, which is okay. He's trying to get the knight here, but then the point is, if Mark were to take either of the pawns, this could get quite annoying. But Mark, of course, castles and says, well, you can come in, but you're not going to stay here very long. White is happy to come in. Mark gets one of the pawns back. And now his opponent has to be very, very careful. In fact, he should trade this knight right away. He played bishop d3 instead, and now Mark can win stuff. And I will pause. I will let you try to find it. So the point is, this knight is defended by this pawn. So if this pawn were gone, we can take this knight for free. So Mark trades his knight for the white bishop, because that was a very good bishop. White takes back, and now Mark takes. And the logic is now, after White takes here, this knight is free. Okay, so takes, takes. But there's still a lot of work here for Mark. He's up a pawn, but White is quite solid. And it's going to be a little bit tough. The knight drops back. Now in this position, Mark has a couple of options. He can, for example, try this check, hitting the king and the pawn. But he plays e5 first, keeping this option available, and also, of course, creating a threat of e4. This is still possible, and also he can now bring out his bishop. His opponent drops the queen back, queen e2. It's a solid move. Now this is not a fork. And now if we play queen b4, White can block with the pawn. But Mark develops the bishop. There is a pin. So of course, Mark is threatening this. So White takes the bishop. By the way, very quick question for everyone. It looks like White can take this for free. What would be the problem with this? And the problem, of course, is the king has not castled yet. So the problem is, if White takes this pawn, Black can just win his queen. Okay, so White tries to deal with this. Mark drops back. His opponent plays g4. Mark drops back again. And now his opponent decides to play knight h4. And Mark comes up with a cool idea. He plays bishop e4 to try to provoke f3, which would further open up the White king. F3 happens. And now Mark drops back, which is not bad. Dropping back is a good move. But Mark can do something even better. And it's not obvious at first. But the move it's a very cool move. The move is queen h6. And the logic behind queen h6 is we're attacking the knight. So if White takes, we take the knight, and we're checking, and White pawns don't make a lot of sense. And the second point is we're stopping him from castling. In the game, Mark dropped back, which is fine. And his opponent now should castle. Still, Mark can put a lot of pressure, something like rook here, with pressure on this pawn. But his opponent decided to play a little bit crazy. And he's hoping that Mark will take, and then he hopes to put pressure on the g file. But Mark takes, and the problem for White, those pawns are not very good. So Mark checks. He's also hitting this. White blocks, but now Mark checks again. And the problem for White is his king is still in the middle, his rooks are not connected, and Mark can easily bring in his rooks. White king, as a result of this purchase, became very, very, very open, and he's going to pay the price for this. The king moved. If White blocks, of course we don't take. Taking is good, we up a pawn, but we can play here and make him suffer, attacking this pawn, stopping him from castling, and he doesn't really want to castle over here. But White moves the king, he does not want to trade queens, and Mark plays this very, very smartly. He hits this pawn, and when White defends, Mark plays e4, which is a beautiful, beautiful move, taking advantage of the White king still being in the middle. And this is important. When your opponent has a king in the middle, you want to open the middle up and go checkmate that king. White takes. Mark takes back. Now this line is open. So White moves the queen. Mark brings the rook into the attack with tempo. The king moves. The rook comes with check. The king has not a very good choice. He can't go here because there will be discoveries. He can go here to block this rook forever. Or he can go here where he thinks he will be safe. But Mark drops the rook back and he threatens this. His opponent attacks Mark's queen. Mark drops back. And his opponent moves the queen away from this line. And here Mark doubles up. And here White has one trick. It's not an easy trick to find. White can try, and this is his only hope. White can try to do this. And the logic is to take advantage of our king on the back rank. So for example, if we try to take twice, we're going to get checkmated over here. Otherwise, we've been attacked, and we could throw in this check, but we don't actually have a follow-up. In this position, white is actually okay, but it's really, really hard move to find. Your first instinct when you're playing chess is not, I'm going to give up my rook. But this is why in every position, you should always look at forcing moves. In this position, white still has 37 minutes left, but he's close to losing. So he should have tried to come up with something. He plays a3. He's hoping that he will be able to run away. The problem is he will not. Mark brings the queen. Now he has a very simple threat, rook here, and there will be checkmate. White desperately tries to defend, but the problem is Mark checks anyway. The problem for this king is, where do you go? You will get in trouble no matter what. If you go here, there is this check, and that king will not survive. If he goes here, this is game over. So he goes back, but now, of course, Mark takes, and then he's also attacking this. And after the king moves, Mark simply takes, and he's up a rook. So here his opponent resigned. So if we go back, several key moments in this game, when someone takes you, you don't automatically have to take back, which is what Mark did here. He brought in his pieces first, saying, I can always take your pawns later. And then white came up with a good idea. And again, Mark does not grab one of the pawns because he realizes this is an issue. You can always take them later, get the king out of trouble, which is what he does. He finally gets his pawn back. And you should always pay attention to forcing moves. And here, Mark finds a tactic. He can take this pawn and get this knight, which is what he does. And then he activates his pieces. And then, now that he provokes all these pawns to move, he takes advantage of this king being here. And he is now letting this king castle. And then remember, really important, if your opponent's king is in the middle, try to open that middle up. And the rest of the game was history. Again, one last instructive moment was here when white can try rook d1. And again, in every position, look for forcing moves, and especially if your position is close to losing, but you have 38 minutes left, maybe you should spend a couple of minutes to try to find something. Because if you lose, that extra time is really not going to make a difference. I hope you enjoyed this game. Great job to Mark. Very nice, very instructive victory. If you like this video, please subscribe, and I will be back soon. Thank you.